wake-induced lucid dream. Basically, what you're doing is you are in bed and you're laying there and you're basically going from conscious to unconscious, and you realize it. For most people, they will fall into a dream and never know when to start, and there's no set point that you remember, oh, I fell asleep right then, or whatever. It just kind of blends together, and that's part of REM sleep, where there are certain stages to actually sleeping, and the first few stages usually are not remembered until you actually get into full REM sleep, when you start dreaming, and then you can actually remember. There are cases where you can dream before that, but we'll get into that later. But basically, it's a technique to lucid dream where you don't necessarily relax yourself. You sort of lay there and you continuously think about falling asleep. And for me, it's never worked. The technique that I tried was to actually count back from 100. And if I made it to 100, or excuse me, if I made it to 1, then I would count back from 500. And then I would count back from 1,000. And it seems boring and mundane, and it really is. But the idea is that you remember the last number that you were thinking. And if you do that night after night after night, eventually you will be able to continuously count in your dream. And then you can say to yourself, yes, I'm aware I'm dreaming. Like I said, it's never worked for me yet, but I'm typically the type of person that just thinks about the day, or what I've got to do tomorrow, or things like that. It's not something that I relax and blank my mind. But I've been trying the technique of actually trying to figure out exactly when I'm falling asleep, and it all depends. Everybody is different. I've never been consistent where I just hit the pillow, 5 seconds later I'm asleep. It's never been that way for me. Usually I lay there for a while. So that would be a wake-induced lucid dream, and it may or may not work. I'm still working on it, but we'll see what happens.